Sponsored by American Student Assistance. Jumaane Kendrick is Mission SAFE's Deputy Director. He co-leads the organization with founder and executive director Nikki Leonis. Jumaane brings 18 years of experience in youth development and violence prevention to the organization. Prior to joining Mission SAFE, Jumaane worked with youth in schools, community organizations, and city agencies, including Boston 10-Point Coalition, the Boston Public Health Commission, and ABCD. He brings a deep understanding of what's happening on the streets in Boston and helps youth navigate the gangs and violence they encounter on the daily. Moving from New Jersey to Boston as a teenager, Jumaane now considers Greater Boston area home for him and his family. Welcome, Jumaane.
Early 90s, Roxbury, Mission Hill projects. Racial tension higher than Mount Everest for the black man. But see, Charles Stewart knew this. He thought it would be easy to blame the murder of his white wife, Carol Stewart, on a black man in the Mission Hill project area. But why? See, then they seen us as criminals and animals. So we thought it'd be an easy alibi to get away with pinning his murder on us. But see, what this did was just cause an all-out war on the Mission Hill projects, where hundreds of apartments were ramshacked and raided, separated mothers from their children, arrested fathers and sons, which devastated that community until this day. That devastation is felt throughout the generations to this day. But in response to that, Mission SAFE wanted to help that community rebuild itself. So just out of a 300 square foot room, the conception and the idea of Mission SAFE was born. And all they wanted to do was provide a safe space and a warm hand for the people in crisis. And I can say fearlessly, we're doing that today. See, we're working with almost 750 young men and girls throughout Boston. In some of the most under-resourced communities, Roxbury, Mattapan, and Dorchester. And when I say the violence and the trauma is beyond what any of us will expect, that's just a short version. What they're living through on a daily basis is undescribable. And so what we know when we see our young people, that they're coming to us with a third grade reading level. The unemployment rate is almost 20% for black and brown people. Generational poverty is rampant where assets, resources, and networks are not passed from one generation to the next. And the violence and the trauma is overflowing. This here is a model of how we do some of our work. See, when we see young people, they're coming in a little bit where we're seeing them disheveled. We're seeing them hopeless. We're seeing them with the lack of confidence. But this model here is where we create and inspire, instill some things in them to give them the confidence and skills that they need, expand their thinking through horizon broadening, and equip them with the knowledge that they need to be able to deal with life when they leave our doors, so that they can then be confident, obtain their career goals, attain their educational goals, and thrive in the community. We do this through an array of programs. Our first would start with our middle school program, the Explorers Academy. See, that's for the 11 to 13-year-old population. That's mainly where a lot of programs do not exist for this population. So what we try to do is create a safe space and help them build some confidence and identity through arts and where they can express themselves. Also, we have our Safe City Dorchester Academy and our Youth Leadership Service Academy, and that's mainly for the high school students. Right? We often are seeing young people where they're at a crossroad where violence or the streets is an option, but then there's also a safer, healthier lifestyle that they can choose. And we help them get to that place through some of the programming that we offer for our after-school high school program, whether they're going through peer leadership workshops, they're dealing with civic engagement, police-youth dialogues, social skills building, tutoring, and another array of options after school. And then some of our most vulnerable population is the Futures program. That's where we have the gang involved, court involved, out of school youth, where we're helping them with job development, connecting them to trades and getting them back into either a GED program, a high school program, college itself. And this is where a lot of the time where we see this trajectory from middle school to out of school, what sometimes we call a school to prison pipeline. But what sets us really apart is that we have a unique mix of programs where all of these programs have opportunities to go to our basketball, go to our soccer, we have boxing, we have sewing, we have podcasting and music, and many more opportunities for our young people where it's not just about giving them some lecturing and skills, but it's more of like experiential learning through these activities so they can be young people. We also have over 20 years of experience creating trauma-informed experiential programming. And what that looks like is that instead of a young person coming in and saying, hey, we have a couple of things on the whiteboard, we create social skill building activities, team building activities, and a lot of things that they will walk away with, understanding that they have the confidence to be able to now to lead in their community and be change agents. On site, we also have mental health support. That's very unique for this population because we know it's taboo. Right? We know that they don't take counseling. We know that they turn their face to mental health. But in our organization, it's not just clinical treatment. It's a trusting, responsible relationship that they're building with someone to help them cope. Right? And then I'll also speak about our lived experience with our staff. Some of our staff are not just staff, but they were participants first. And now they are staff. Right? That experience in itself gives a kid some hope and shows our people in the community that there is options to grow. But I'll just say this about myself, right? I always say I was mission safe before I was mission safe. What does that mean, right? I talk about how the 9th grade dropout, the court-involved, gang-involved young man that was also shot and stabbed, but when I was shot with a 12-gauge shotgun, I was left for dead in the streets and shouldn't be here today. But I talk about also the things that Mission Safe instills and some of the things that I picked up along the way, where now I'm not only a dropout, but I'm a guy with a GED that got a master's in business. I'm a homeowner. A businessman, but I also am the young person who can now be a positive role model for those young people that lost hope and they can see the other side of the table. We do on a daily basis, this is what we have been able to accomplish so far. We've been able to double our participation through a pandemic from 350 to more than 700 young people through a pandemic, right? We've almost placed 100 young people into employment this year, right? We're seeing some of the behavior change where young people are usually reacting negatively and violently to now responding with de-escalation, decreasing the violence in our neighborhood. Right? I can honestly say that we've also seen a 47% drop in violent incidents amongst our youth across the city. And in most vulnerable population, I can almost say almost 100% of our youth have decreased engagement in violent affairs in our Futures program. But that's just the start. We want to go deeper. We want to go further. And so what we're really trying to figure out is how do we double our efforts? How do we double our programming? We know how to do that, but we have to expand, right? We need a larger space. So for a hub for our location to house all our programs. We have at least 4 programs with a lot of subsets, but we're busting out the seams, so we want to have a larger space, right? We want to train other adults with the model that we use to build trauma-informed programs across the city and eventually the nation. And we also want to deepen our partnerships with the cities, with the businesses and organizations so that we can also place and show our young people that there are people out there that give them opportunity. But even in last, I'll talk about how we need to really have more staff to make this dream happen. You know, we need on-site mental health support more than we can even speak of, right? And a resource coordinator to really connect us with the resources with our young people because we can't do it all. And then lastly, our organization mostly works with people of color, but we need to diversify our board so we can become stronger and look like the people we serve so that they can speak the life into the organization. you to help us with raising this $3.8 million to make this vision happen. You can get involved with us by becoming a tutor, becoming a mentor, helping us with connecting us with your network, to helping us place young people into internships and helping us raise the $3.8 million. Because we know when you become a partner with Mission Safe, that we can transform lives. Thank you.